In today's video, I'm going to turn this cluttered basement storage room into an exercise room. If that interests you, stay tuned. We'll get started. My plan for this room, or for this space, I want to get everything out of here. All the junk, the bikes, everything else, the shelves. I'm going to push you guys back, set you up in the corner, and we're going to time-lapse clean this room. Let's get started. 2 days, 20 seconds. This room doesn't have any electricity. The room next to it is on its own circuit and it's got a total of 5 outlets. So I think I've got capacity in that circuit for this room. I added an outlet to the existing system and I extended some conduit to 2 more outlets over here. Now that I have some electricity, I'm going to put pegboard on this wall. So I'm going to cut pegboard and I'm going to cover this whole wall with it. I bought 3 sheets and they're 4x8. So I will have to cut them down, and I need to cut them down so that the joints fall on studs. I got the first piece cut, and I'm going to offset it from the corner so that I can center it on these 2 studs, and I won't have to cut a finished edge. So to hold this in place, I'm using a lath screw with a fender washer. And I'm going to put it through the existing holes, and what that will do is the fender washer will distribute the force and help these screw heads from pulling through if I get a lot of weight on this. That's all right. The next thing I want to do before I do anything else, I want to get the lights up. These are LED panels. They're designed to go like in kitchens or offices and hang down. But I think with a little creativity I can make these look like windows. These are dimmable too, so I can take them down to like 10% brightness, which I think would be pretty cool. So I think that looks alright. I think that's pretty cool. I've got one for the other wall as well, so I'm going to have the 2 opposite each other. That wall is going to be a little more difficult because it's a concrete wall, and so I have to build some sort of a frame that fits between the light and the concrete just to give space for the wiring. So to mount the light on the concrete side, I'm going to set a box, run the wiring down in conduit, and then I'm going to build a wooden frame, the same dimensions as the outer dimensions of that light. And I can take that wooden frame, I can put it up, secure it to the concrete with Tapcons, and then I can bolt the mount to that wood, and that will give me a little cavity here where I can add a second junction box and make all my connections to the light there. It's a bit cold this morning. There's a layer of frost on all the wood I left outside last night. I'm going to use 2x4s. So the way I'll build it, I'm going to cut a 45 on each corner and glue it together and then use screws to hold everything in place. So I've got this cut out. This is kind of how that frame's going to go together. I'm going to take it inside. I'm just going to hold it together with some poly glue and screws. It is my experience when I work with 2x3s and 2x4s that if you're screwing into them in this direction, they're fine. But if you're doing it on the edge, especially close to the edge, they like to split. So to keep that from happening, I almost always pre-drill them with a countersink bit. That creates an opening for the screw to go into, and it reduces the chance that it will split when the head pulls up. Alright, so I have the second panel now wired in and mounted. I'm going to turn it on for you. Here's a better look at the light output. What you see in the camera is much closer to what I see in real life. It really lights up this room nicely. You know, there's no creepy shadows anymore. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this is coming out. I hadn't planned on it originally, but I think I want to do something with the ceiling. Seeing it in here with the walls covered, it looks pretty nice. I've got extra wallboard, so what I think I'm going to do is kind of match what I did on the walls. What I'm putting on the ceiling, it's wallboard. Sometimes it's called masonite. It's effectively the same material that the pegboard is made out of, just without the holes. Now that I have that done, I want to focus my energy on the trim. I want to make it look like this beam is being supported by columns. So for that, I'm just going to use some pine 1-bys. I'm going to screw them together at an angle and then screw those into this 2x4. So that fits around that box all right. Now I've still got full access to it and the wiring that's behind it. I think I'm to the point now where I can put the trim on. So I'm going to start on the door, I'm going to trim around it, and then that'll be the last bit of wall trim, and I can work on the baseboard. This is what I'm using for baseboard. I'm going to attach it to this concrete wall with some Tapcons. So I'll drill the concrete and then I'll screw the Tapcons in, and that'll pull this up flush against the wall. And then any gaps I'll fill with caulking. So I finished the trim work. I ended up using 5-inch baseboard with 1-inch shoe molding. I did that just to match the rest of the house. I added brick molding to separate the panels from the beam, and then I used some 1x2s to create separation between the walls and the ceiling, kind of fill that gap and finish it off. And I'm to the point now where I can paint. So we're going to do that next. I've got the room pretty much done. I've got all the trim up, everything's painted. It looks really nice. I set up my room for indoor cycling, but it could really be used for anything. A home office, a yoga studio, even a basement workshop. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. If you did, would you consider subscribing to my channel? I'm a small channel and those subscriptions, they really help. So with that guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.